Good day, my true crime friends. Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T, and I hope you're all doing well. 16-year-old Kiely Rodni and her 2013 silver Honda CR-V have been missing since the early morning hours of August 6th, 2022, 12 long days ago. Kylie disappeared while attending a massive high school party in the woods at the Prosser family campground in Truckee, California. We're learning now that Kylie almost did not attend the high school bash at the campground that night. Apparently, her original plans were to attend the hot August nights car show in Reno, Nevada. The question is now, why did Kylie change her mind? Did someone talk her out of the car show? And if so, why and who? The photo we see of Kylie in her spaghetti strap black bodysuit and dark green chinos was taken at a Truckee business at 6:08 p.m. But Sammy, her friend and party buddy, said that the pants in that photo were not Kylie's dark green chinos and that she must have changed her pants at some point. Now, why would Sammy say that? And why would Kylie change her pants? I don't think she would. I think she's wearing the same pants in the photo that she wore later. Now, what happened between that 6:08 p.m. photo in Truckee and the 10 p.m. time that Kylie and her best friend Magdalene allegedly arrived at the campground? Some people, including musician Ryan Upchurch, who's very much into true crime and he's really good at it, are thinking that there must have been an earlier party. And I am starting to think that that is very plausible. In this 6:08 p.m. photo, Kylie looks okay. She doesn't appear to be stumbling or out of it. She appears to be moving with a confident stride. At what point in the night did Kylie get drunk, as Sammy has told us she did? Is it possible that Kylie, Megs, and Sammy were all at an earlier party? I've always felt that Kylie arriving at 10 p.m. didn't make total sense since she was dressed up at 6:08 p.m. That's a lot of time, 4 hours. What was going on during that 4-hour period? Sammy and Megs have said that there were allegedly anywhere from 200 to 300 people at the campground party that Saturday night, including some sketchy older guys who are said to have shown up toward the end of the evening around 12:30 a.m. However, no one's come forward with a photo of all these 200 to 300 people. We've seen isolated shots of maybe 3 to 4 people, one with a guy sporting a mustache and a knit cap who definitely looks older than the girls surrounding him, and then one photo of about 20 people just standing around with their backs to the camera in what looks to be a woodsy area. But we haven't seen images of this mad, wild party. Why is that? Kids these days document every second of their lives, even the most mundane details. You mean to tell me these kids aren't going to be posting photos of this epic blowout party? What's also weird to me about this time detail about the older guys arriving is that when Kylie's best friend, Megs, talked about arriving at the party with Kylie around 10 p.m., Meg said she was immediately approached by a bunch of aggressive guys trying to get her to take bong rips. My impression was that the pushy dudes with the bong were the sketchy older guys that Meg, Sammy, and Kylie didn't know. But if the older guys arrived toward the end of the party, more like around midnight or 12:30 a.m., then they can't have been the guys pushing the bong. And why would Megs be so upset over guys pushing a bong with pot at her? It's not exactly like somebody trying to roofie her or force her to snort cocaine or to inject heroin. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference. Also, Sammy has said that even she, who isn't normally intimidated by large gatherings, found this one really intense. Yet Sammy also said she wanted to hang out at this really intense party longer. That's why she said she asked Kylie for a ride home, right? The other thing that just isn't adding up is why would both Megs and Sammy leave Kylie at a party that they both found maybe scary and too much and with too many people pushing bong hits? I, in particular, wonder about this with Sammy because she very clearly stated that she left in a different vehicle because Kylie was too drunk to drive. Who is this Sammy person to leave a drunk Kylie behind in a vulnerable state like that with strangers saying, well, I thought maybe she would sleep there in her car? This doesn't make any sense, especially from this main spokesperson who's talking about the party and Kylie. If she's got her act together so much so that she can get up on that podium and talk about how kids should come forward to her and share what they know, why would she be so ignorant about leaving a young female friend who's too intoxicated to drive alone at a large party? I think what we're dealing with here is either one person or more than one person who think they are smarter than the police and that they can weave a tale that will not implicate any of them in whatever happened to Kylie. Sorry, but that's the vibe I'm drinking in here. This Sammy is very confident and very sure of herself in terms of stepping up to the platform. However, when she's asked simple questions about the evening, she experiences a twisted tongue and cannot spit it out easily or seamlessly. I'm also still not sure when exactly this party ended. Was it really at 12:30 a.m. or was it more like 4:30 a.m.? It sounds like the party went on much longer than the 12:30 a.m. time we've been told. I know a witness has said that she saw a group of vehicles leaving the campground en masse around 12:30 a.m., but I'm wondering if other partygoers stayed behind at the campground. We're also hearing from someone going by the name of Ronnie, who turned up on Ikamel's channel 3 times, and he's saying that cocaine and mushrooms were present at the party, even though he wasn't. But Ronnie appears to stumble when talking about the party, and he contradicts himself at times. He said that 2 of his cousins attended the party, and that's how he knows what went down there. Isn't that a sus thing to say? Why aren't the cousins calling in for themselves? Is Ronnie really an older guy who heard about the party from his 2 cousins? Or is he someone who was actually at the party? Could Ronnie have turned up into Kylie's story to throw suspicion off the high schoolers and onto some older guys, some strangers from San Francisco who cannot be named or found? Possibly people who don't really even exist. It is pretty convenient, isn't it, to scapegoat strangers who can't be tracked down. Listen, anything is possible when people are afraid of possible negative consequences. Maybe something bad happened to Kylie at the party, and the kids are all terrified of how it could mess up their lives. They're just about to head off to college, and maybe even their parents are telling them not to talk about it because they don't want their kids' lives affected by something that happened that cannot be undone. Maybe the parents are like, well, there's nothing that can be done to bring Kylie back, so why should all of you be destroyed by this one event? We've seen parents go out of their way to protect their kids. Alec Murdoch comes to mind. I know. One of the points that a lot of true crime aficionados are also stuck on is why didn't Sammy Smith tell the authorities that Kylie was wearing a white sweatshirt with pink lettering that night? The authorities apparently only learned about the white sweatshirt after looking at video footage from the party. It's strange that Sammy, who's been so vocal and visible post Kylie's disappearance, didn't mention this sweatshirt. How could she not have seen Kylie wearing it if she really was, as she claimed, by Kylie's side during the entire party? I believe this sweatshirt belongs to Kylie because there's a picture floating around of her wearing it. And then I believe the dark gray sweatshirt belongs to Meg's. But do these sweatshirts even matter in the scheme of things? I don't know. I'm inclined to think not, but they may be important only if a body is found, or if there's a sighting of Kylie, or somebody else is seen wearing either one of those sweatshirts. But let's get back to Sammy. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that her stumbling when answering questions about the night of the party is what is leading me to believe that whatever happened to Kylie to prevent her from arriving home safely was not a car accident where she drove off the road and into a body of water. Watching Sammy hesitate, stop and start, change her wording, and so on, all lead me to believe that A, Sammy's not being fully honest about what happened, and B, that something happened to Kylie at the party that Sammy knows about. I'm sorry, but when someone is being 100% honest, no matter what the person's age, aside from perhaps babies, they're able to say what happened in an easy, seamless manner. They don't typically say stuff like, we were, I was, and so on. The stumbling stuff is a clear sign of deception. I also believe that alcohol and illicit drugs played a role in whatever happened. When you mix booze, drugs, and a location with water, it's a dangerous combination. I don't think Kylie accidentally landed in the water, as I've said, but I do think it's possible kids afraid of serious consequences from, say, a drug overdose would perhaps roll Kylie and her car into a body of water, especially if they're drunk at the time or if they were tripping on mushrooms when all this was going down. That's not so far-fetched. If enough kids are like, hey, this is what we have to do, and we all need to stick to the story, the crazy idea can gain momentum, and people will go with it, and then they'll wake up the next morning or afternoon and be like, oh my God, did that really happen? Oh my God. Another detail that caught everyone's attention is the fight Sammy mentioned at the party. She said her classmates had boxing gloves there for everybody to spar with. Sammy also described Kylie as being very daring. Some people are wondering if maybe Kylie was somehow involved in the boxing glove fighting. Supposedly it was all in good fun, and this boxing glove stuff was a favorite activity for the classmates, but could it have gone wrong? Apparently these kids often engage in this type of fight club stuff. Sometimes they use the boxing gloves, sometimes they just use their fists. It's odd to me that Sammy brought this up. Her talking about it makes me think it must have some connection to Kylie's disappearance, or it's a red herring that she wants us all to chase. Why else would she share this information? Was she just talking to talk? And this fight has nada to do with Kylie going missing? At my high school parties many moons ago, we didn't have boxing matches. If a fight broke out, it was because two people or more were having some major problem with each other. It was never a good thing, and it was never for entertainment purposes. But of course, that was before the movie Fight Club came out. So who knows? Another theory I've heard and considered myself is either alcohol poisoning or a drug overdose. Latina was on one of Zavgirl's recent panels, and she mentioned that young females' livers are 6 times less able to filter alcohol than the livers of young men. Sammy Smith has said that Kylie was doing shots, as in multiple shots, with her and sharing other drinks with her as well. Kylie is 5 feet 7 inches tall and only about 113 pounds, so her body may not have been up to either heavy drinking or illicit drug use. Note that Latina is a board-certified physician, so I do trust her for this type of information. During the discussion, Zavgirl brought up the drug overdose theory, and she was thinking that if Kylie was given a drug that was perhaps laced with fentanyl and subsequently OD'd, then other people at the party who took the same substance would likely have OD'd too. But then again, everybody's body is different, right? I just want to share other people's musings and why or why not they're ruling out certain theories. On another note, it's been announced that Adventures with Purpose are headed from Wisconsin to California, and they should be arriving in Truckee this upcoming Friday, August 19th, to help search for Kylie. Let's hope that they can work their magic there at that campground and on the bodies of water there. I don't care if locals are saying it's unlikely Kylie is in the water. When you see bodies of water around the area where someone went missing, you have to search them all, as well as you can with whatever equipment that you have and how well it allows you to search. To me, it's almost felt like the locals have been trying to dissuade people from searching the water. I don't know if they're genuinely trying to be helpful or if they have other reasons for not wanting water searches to be carried out. Complicating everything for the Placer County Sheriff's Office is the fact that they're also dealing with wildfires in the area. Many areas were told to evacuate yesterday. Now, Kylie's reward fund has been increased from $50,000 to $75,000, and Ryan Upchurch has offered to give his pricey Hellcat Dodge Charger to anyone who provides information leading to conclusive answers as to what happened to Kiely Rodni. Upchurch believes that it's unlikely anyone will come forward. I think he thinks, and I do too, that these kids are sworn to some sort of pact of secrecy. No one wants to tattle on the others because they're all involved and they all have something to lose if the truth gets out. If you have any information related to Kylie's disappearance, you can report it to this anonymous tip line. Dial 530-581-6320, option 7. And if you're afraid to talk, put yourself in Kylie's shoes and in her parents' shoes and step up to the plate. It's bad karma not to talk if you know something, in my opinion. Kylie's 2013 silver Honda CR-V has a license plate of 8YUR127. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, now do me a favor. Can you hit that like button on the way out? And if you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, please use the thanks down there in the comments to show your support.